Everyone thought she froze because she was scared, but the truth was, she was measuring his pulse, and when his fingers tightened around her throat, the general learned why Navy SEALs never panic. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. It started in a storm-battered hangar on a remote base in Virginia. Rain hammered the metal roof as Commander Elise Rowan stood at attention, her uniform damp, her medals still gleaming. Across from her, General Walter Briggs, known for his temper, was red with fury. A top-secret drone operation had failed, and someone had leaked coordinates. He believed it was her. "Do you know what happens to traitors in my command?" he hissed, stepping close enough for her to feel his breath. Elise didn't flinch. She'd seen men crumble underwater, in darkness, and under pressure that would have shattered steel. But this was different. It wasn't combat. It was humiliation. "I followed your orders, sir," she said quietly. Her voice didn't shake, but her hands behind her back trembled slightly. He noticed. He mistook restraint for guilt. He lunged forward, fingers wrapping around her neck, pressing hard. Gasps erupted from the soldiers nearby. No one dared intervene. A major half-stepped forward, then froze when the general's glare turned to him like a weapon. "Confess," Briggs roared. "You cost us men." The veins in his arms strained. Elise's boots barely touched the ground. The room blurred. But she didn't fight back. Not yet. Her mind went still, recalling the cold Atlantic training dives where her lungs had screamed for air, and her instructors had whispered, "Breathe through the chaos." Outside, lightning flashed, and for a second the reflection of her own calm face shone in the general's eyes, and that terrified him more than anything. Because she wasn't afraid. He released her, stumbling back as though burned. She dropped to one knee, coughing softly, the room spinning. No one spoke. The silence was heavy enough to bend steel. Then she stood, slowly, deliberately. "Permission to speak freely, sir." The general didn't answer. Elise took a step forward. "The leak wasn't me, but while you were screaming in your office, I was rescuing the men you left behind." A murmur ran through the ranks. She reached into her pocket and placed a small dirt-smeared chip on his desk, a recovered data drive. "You're missing intel. Found it 200 miles offshore, retrieved during the blackout." Briggs blinked, color draining from his face. The thunder outside masked the whispers that followed. Soldiers exchanged glances, some shocked, others quietly proud. She should have walked out then, but she didn't. She looked him in the eye. "You taught me to never back down, sir. I just learned not to break." Either. For a long moment, the general didn't move. Then he did something no one expected. He stepped aside. "Dismissed, Commander," he muttered. It was the closest thing to an apology a man like him could give, but the story didn't end there. 2 days later, a sealed letter arrived at Elise's quarters. Inside was a single line, handwritten, under pressure, "Truth surfaces, just like you did." And beneath it, his signature. She sat by her window, the sunrise washing gold over the base, and let the words sink in. For all his rage, the general had finally understood. Pressure doesn't destroy character. It reveals it. And sometimes it takes being choked by injustice to prove you can still breathe through it. Because strength isn't loud. It's silent, steady, and patient. The kind that never needs to shout to be heard. And when the storm clears, it's the calm that remains standing. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to stay calm when everything tried to break you? I'd love to hear your story.